In this getting started part of the course, I'm going to show you the basics of using Python in Bluemix, guiding you as you create an application shell which you will be able to run both inside and outside of the Bluemix platform, and you'll be ready to start incorporating the Watson Cognitive Services. But first, a word of warning. This is a getting started guide for Python in Bluemix and eventually to consume Watson services. It's not a course to learn Python. There are better suited, freely available tutorials available for learning Python. You will need to be comfortable with a Python web framework, not necessarily Flask or Django, but they're the two frameworks that I'll be covering in this course. If you're using a framework other than Flask or Django, you will need to modify the code as you go along. We'll start by exploring the Python runtime that's available on Bluemix. So let's log on to Bluemix using your Bluemix IBM ID. From the dashboard, you can see which regions are available for you. I'm going to be using the UK, but note that there are other regions available for you to use. When you pick a region, the URL will change. Note the suffix. This is important when you push your application into the platform. I'm going to show you the Sydney suffix. And if you deploy to Sydney, your application will have this suffix. au-sid-bluemix.net. Switch over to the UK suffix. Note the suffix. You're going to need it later. So, moving over to the catalog, this is where you're going to find the Python runtimes and the boilerplates. The boilerplate has been set up for a basic Hello World Flask application. It's a complete application, though it doesn't do very much. Let's go into the boilerplate. Note the View Docs button. The runtime option is just raw Python. You can use either of these, the runtime or the boilerplate, as the starting point. Let's click on the View Docs button. You'll come to this page which describes the Python runtime available on the Bluemix platform. It's important to go down here, and scrolling down you'll see instructions on how to specify the Python runtime in the runtime.txt file. This is important as this is how you fix the version of Python that your application uses. For the available versions, there are two links. They go to different places. The first shows you the default build pack, which as of time of recording was 1.5.5. Here you can see the versions of Python that are supported and the Cloud Foundry stacks, which define the platform and the system level software. The second link takes you to all the available releases, and you can see 1.5.8 is the latest version. Here you can see when versions of Python were supported or when support for versions of Python were removed. And using this information, you can define your runtime environment, and you're now ready to start.